You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Mike Olivas.
Let's get cranking, Business and Life Nation. All right, check it out today. Adam Markel. He's a CEO, best-selling author, keynote speaker, and business mentor. He has spent the past 10 years training hundreds of thousands of people all across the U.S., Southeast Asia, Canada, Europe, and Australia on how to pivot to living a life of purpose, passion, and freedom. Adam is a recognized expert in professional and personal reinvention. Adam, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you. So tell our listeners something interesting about yourself and also where you're calling in from today.
Well, calling in from Encinitas, California, beautiful Southern California. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous day. What to say about myself? Well, I mean, I'm a daddy. I got 4 kids. Awesome. Love my kids. 3 girls and a boy, and married to my college sweetheart. And
oh, sweet.
It's shocking to say this, but we know each other 35 years now. We're married. It'll be 31 years this summer. Now, that just, as much as that might flip you out awesome. To hear that, that flips me out to say it. So, yeah, but all just couldn't be better. And look, relationships are, on a good day, I think they're work. They have to be. Anything that's worthwhile, whether it's your business or it's your personal life, your health, it's work. I mean, and it's the best kind of work. It's the work that is like love. So, yeah, that's awesome. I've been an entrepreneur since I'm 15 years old. That may be one of those things that folks can really resonate with. And that doesn't mean I haven't held a job, because for a good part of that period of time, both owning my own business, being an attorney, I was an attorney for 18 years, CEO of a very large company for 10 plus years, still a CEO, but now of a company that's smaller that we run ourselves. And so, yeah, I completely, I've been working my fingers to the bone for a long time.
Oh, I bet, man. Well, I mean, you can look at it from all the accolades, from you being on world-class stages and TED Talks, you name it, helping other companies. It seems like there's a lot of corporate in your world as well. Performance, I think high performance, the Resilience Kickstart Kit that I see on your website. A lot of different products and services. Tell us what Adam Markel does for a living. What does he bring to the marketplace?
Oh, that's a really great question. What do I bring to the marketplace? Yeah. Hopefully fresh perspective. I mean, we, when it comes to keynote speaking, which is part of what we do, we kind of do 3 things. I speak all over the world on business topics, so I'm a keynote speaker for that purpose. We do some consulting for corporations as well, workshops and consulting. And then we actually train speakers. We train people to get on a TEDx stage or to create their keynote talks. In fact, I was doing that just before I got on with you. I was on with a very experienced Emmy award-winning producer who's retired now from that line of work and wants to be a thought leader. So, he's writing a book. He wants to be able to speak. And there's an art, there's a science to effective and powerful public speaking, the kind of speaking that not only, where your words can have an impact on people's lives, but you can also make quite a bit of money doing it, travel, etc. Sometimes in a cheeky way, we'll ask people, what's the best way to see the world? And then I'll say, on someone else's dime.
That's right. I love that. That's right.
It's nice to get paid to go to a beautiful place and share something with folks.
Right. Yeah. It's cool to just have someone email you an itinerary and a hotel, where to check in, your flights. You're right.
I take care of everything. I mean, it's
beautiful thing.
Yeah. And then usually they have an offsite, some party or something that they're doing to reward their people. And so the thing is, I fall in love with these companies. I never, I used to fall in love with my clients too. It was the same thing. I'm a loving person. Our company is called More Love Media Group. I won't, I could dive into that a little bit, but let's just say it's pretty obvious, right? We want to contribute more love. So you asked me, what do we bring to the world? Well, we hopefully bring a new perspective and through that more love. Awesome. through the information that we share. Yeah. But these companies are all so unique, man. They're so rich. They're so diverse. Their cultures are so different. And, they've got things like everybody in everybody's personal life and in any business pursuit. There's things that are working, things that are not working, and things that could be done differently. In fact, that's a feedback loop that we typically will introduce in certain contexts with groups. How it is that you provide people with healthy feedback. Not criticism, not critique that's based on what people are, how people are judging you, but rather really from a healthy, objective perspective, what's working, what's not working, and what could be done differently. So that's just fun for us.
How long have you been in business?
This business has been around for this business was started in 2016. I've been in this industry since I reinvented my career. So I was a lawyer for 18 years, and then I wrote a book called Pivot: The Art and Science of Reinventing Your Career and Life. And that book was all about my transition out of a profession and a career that was really killing me. I mean, I came home one night from one of my typical workaholic days, and walked in the house and saw the look on my wife's face, Randy's face, and I knew that again. I knew I'd missed dinner. Missing dinner was a pretty regular affair for me at the time.
Yeah.
But I missed them going to sleep. I missed the opportunity to kiss him and hug him and read him a bedtime story. My office was in Manhattan, and we were living in New Jersey, and I was spending 4 hours a day commuting. I'm sure there's a lot of people know what it's like to be sitting in a car and just thinking, is this really what my life is about? Is this all there is, kind of thing? So she took a deep breath that night. And, because I walked right up to her and I said, if I keep doing what I'm doing, you're going to be a widow.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty intense thing to say to your spouse or anybody. So, yeah, she just said, we'll figure it out. And that process of figuring it out, what the next step on the path would be, became the topic of Pivot. And over the course of 2.5 years, I actually was able to exit my law practice and move into this other space, and have been speaking on stages, as you said earlier, and training people for now more than 10 years. That's awesome. Been a tremendous blessing.
That's a story that I couldn't have probably asked the right questions for, so I'm glad you shared that. So thank you for that, Adam. I think because the Business of Life podcast, a lot of it is, there's a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs listening, and current entrepreneurs as well, small, medium, large-sized companies. And I think that when it's all said and done, hearing the story and also making sure it resonates with those that want to start a company and are afraid to take the dive, but hearing it from someone that went through all of the time, effort, and money you got to pay for law school and to go through that jazz, then to start, to have a practice, and then realize bottom line is, nope, not for me. It can't be for me. It's not the way that I want to live my life. Taking the dive into entrepreneurship is a very scary thing as well, but man, is it worth it? Is it going to be some time? Is it going to be rough times on many times? Yes, 100%. And we're very I guess we're very, I don't know, I like to just really give the true grit of what it takes to kind of get to where we all are as entrepreneurs. And that's why I asked this next question is there a time you felt you hit rock bottom, or you were close to it and you had to overcome that kind of disaster?
Yeah, I mean, it was that moment and another moment. I'll quickly say I ended up in the hospital on a Saturday heading to our son's baseball game, and I'm with my wife in the car, and I'm like, we're going to, we have to go to the emergency room. And I pull over, she takes over driving. She's like white as a ghost at this point. I say, I just, my chest feels funny. I didn't tell her what was really happening, which was that, my heart was beating so hard, it felt like it was going to pop out of my chest. Jeez. And so I ended up in the emergency room on a gurney and thinking, I think I'm dying. I think I'm not going to see my kids again. And it's this devastating, just sadness and self, I'm just angry at myself. And it turns out the doctor says, look, you've had too much coffee. You're not sleeping enough. You're in a very high stress, environment in the work that you're doing. And, you probably, you're just not taking great care of yourself. So you didn't have a heart attack. Thankfully, fortunately, not a heart attack. I had an anxiety attack.
Yeah, like a panic attack. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's so many people that I meet, as you said earlier about entrepreneurship, one of the great benefits is freedom. It's just describing to me what it feels like to wake up in the morning and know I'm in charge of my own destiny. I'm the captain of my own ship, right? And my own soul. But back then I felt anything but free. And so it just was so restricting, and to the point, restricting and constricting. It's like constricting my heart the expression of a part of myself that I didn't have access to in the work I was doing at the time. And I'm not saying, by the way, that you need to jump. My book is not about jumping ship anyway, and I didn't jump ship. And it certainly doesn't mean that if you're a lawyer or a doctor, any of these high stress professions where the incidence of mental of challenges on the mental side, of physical challenges, including addictions and substance abuse issues, et cetera, that you have to quit those things. I didn't need to quit law, but at the time I didn't have access to resources, and consciousness wise I was pretty unevolved at that point. I was relatively young, and just didn't know. And so for me, I had to get out of that area and pursue something else. And that was perfect. But what I know now, what I teach about and speak about, you can make pivots. You can change. Even everyday pivots are possible. Yeah. So that you don't necessarily need to quit a job or a relationship or something. And sometimes, you know what? You do. Yeah. Sometimes you do need to build, as we like to call it, a second bridge. Like we have a house in Cape Cod, and this beautiful bridge over a body of water. And some years ago, as we were writing the book, actually, I noticed that they were doing some work on the bridge, and next to it, pulled over and asked what was going on. Army Corps of Engineers guy says to me, "We're building a second bridge because this bridge here might not survive another nor'easter. Like this bridge could go down next winter." So they built a second bridge. And I thought, well, that's the perfect, analogy for what pivoting is all about. Right. You don't tear down the first bridge before the second is built. Otherwise you're stranded, right, on one side or the other. And a quick addendum to that is that a few years later, we see that the second bridge is up. The first one was torn down, but they're building again. We're like, oh, this is perfect, right? Millions of dollars been spent, right? It's taking years. What the heck are they doing? And we asked the question and go, well, that second bridge, right, was a temporary bridge. That wasn't the permanent bridge. And I thought, this story only gets richer, right? Because as entrepreneurs, we know that sometimes the bridge we're building, it's a great way to move from one thing into another, whether it's to pivot the model that you're doing. YouTube, many people don't know, started out as a video dating site. Yeah. They lost the dating part, right? They kept the video part. So it doesn't mean that the thing that you're doing or constructing right now is the permanent bridge. It's not the one necessarily that's going to see you through to whatever retirement looks like for you. But it is a necessary build on that path to the thing that you ultimately are meant to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people out there might be thinking something that you just mentioned, which was, I have this idea. Let's say they have an idea of how to monetize it. How long is it going to go? Worried about the future of it, but you'll naturally evolve. The business will evolve. You'll get better, and you'll start pivoting into different angles, potentially different revenue streams. I mean, my audience will evolve as I kind of get more and more into years in the podcast, and that's just the way that business works. And of course, people personally evolve and grow as well. We're going to dive into our guests' experiences in business and life after this quick message. Life Nation, are you struggling with growing your business and hitting goals? Or are you over the 9-to-5 grind, finally ready to take the dive into entrepreneurship? What are you waiting for? Go to michaelivas.com to set up a free, no obligation coaching call today. That's MIKEOLIVAS.com. I can help you. It may be the best call you've ever made. What are you excited about in your business, in your industry right now?
I'm excited by all the people that want to stand on a stage. I mean, I'm truly excited by how other people are inspired to speak. I mean, to not sit silently when they have something to share with the world. I mean, look, and I say that because it takes great courage to speak. In so many ways, we've been shut, our voices have been shut down, whether it was from childhood whether it was in school where, you asked the question or you said something and kids laughed or the teacher made fun. I mean, there's so many ways that our voice has been shut down. And so to be able to say, look, I want to share a message, whether it's on a TED stage or it's to get in front of a corporate audience, or to stand on a stage to build your business, like you say, as an entrepreneur, and talk about your product or service and invite people to join you. Those things take tremendous courage. So I'm inspired by the numbers of people that are more increasingly want to do that, do what we're doing and do it in their own way.
Who do you see out there that is taking that dive to jump onto the stage, or I guess step up, not dive, step up to the stage?
There's a lot of women. I mean, this
Oh, awesome.
I would say sort of 2/3 of that group would be women, and other people that are sort of in their mid-career. This has surprised us as well. They're sort of thinking to themselves, look, at some point I'm going to leave this job, whether it's to retire or it's to go somewhere else. But I also want to build my own personal brand. I want to have something I can do, post corporate career. So we're getting some mid-level people, but senior level leaders as well as CEOs that are coming to us and saying, hey, just teach me how to be a better communicator. Teach me how to cultivate a message that I might be able to get on the circuit, so to speak. It's a really cool thing.
What are the popular stages out there right now? Who's bringing on a lot of speakers? Corporate, educational, like university world. What do you think is hot out there?
The biggest market is always the corporate market. So, and those could be anything from trade associations or groups, user groups, as well as these the companies themselves that are both working through bureaus to find speakers and also going direct. And that's why when we work with people, we don't just help them on the physical act of creating their script, their slides, their actual talk, but also the platform where they're positioned. So their website, we work with a team of folks that they're able to create the kind of a site that works and functions exactly how we know it has to not only position them properly in the space and give them the credentials for people to say, yeah, I'm interested, but also to get the leads. Because it's, in many ways, as I'm told, even by my own agent, it's always a numbers game. The more leads, the more, ultimately, the more bookings you get. And it's the law of averages. There's a great old book by Og Mandino called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And one of the principles in that book, it's a little thin book, but super powerful, has to do with making use of the law of averages. And that's why, you can't succeed as an entrepreneur in any business if hearing the word no is something that you're shy about, like that you shy away from it, that rejection or the things that you make rejection mean on an internal level will keep you from pursuing on a daily basis, tenaciously pursuing new leads and new opportunities.
Out of all your successes and failures, of course, in business, what is the
plenty of those?
Yeah,
yes,
but definitely all rainbows. What is the one piece of parting advice that you give to the business and life listeners today?
It's the same advice I've given for a long time now, and that is to follow your heart. So I think I have a copy right here. I'll pull it out. So anytime I'm blessed to be able to put one of these in someone's hands, or they put it in my hand, they would like me to inscribe it. What I sign on the front page of this book, Pivot, is follow your heart. Follow your heart. That to me is the greatest signal to our minds, but really it's just a thing that when we pay attention to the message that our heart has to give us, it's never wrong. The message that comes from the heart is never wrong. It's the mind that has questions, the heart has answers. And I know it's general, and yet everybody knows what it's like when something deep inside of you says I should do this or I shouldn't do this. And yet we override it. We override those things. And that's where my greatest mistakes have come from. And those mistakes have all led to learnings that I had to have. I mean, so I don't look at any of that stuff and go, oh, that was really devastating. It's like, no, there's nothing that's devastating. Yeah. There's nothing that's going to annihilate us. We just have to really every day wake up a little bit more, be a little bit more conscious. And that's what the heart will do for us.
Adam, where can people find you?
They can go to adammarkel.com. Also, we've got this wonderful assessment tool that you brought up at the beginning. And so this is totally free. They can go to client.resilienceculture.com. I'll say it one more time, client.resilienceculture.com. What's great about that is it's a resilience assessment tool. It's what we do with corporations. Something really simple to create. In fact, anybody that's speaking, we often will say to them, hey, can we construct an assessment tool for you to magnify that message, give people's tangible takeaways. So this is something they can experience and learn something from. It'd be great value. And if they want to find out more about me or the book Pivot or anything that we're doing, including the keynote part, just go to adammarkel.com.
Awesome. We'll definitely make sure we put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for dropping this knowledge for us today.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks for having me as a guest.
Life Nation, you got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Libas, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.